Hello and welcome to part 3 of the college counseling series from McLoughlin High School. This particular presentation is focused on understanding what it takes to get into various colleges across the country. The requirements are very different, and it's important to understand those. Now, hopefully, the earlier the better, because a lot of these take some work on the student's part and the parent's part, to be honest, in order to get these done. So the earlier you can watch this particular section, the better in terms of your high school career, and you'll see why in a minute. Uh, colleges do what they call a comprehensive review. So they're not just looking at your transcript, they're not just looking at your test scores, but they're trying to get a feel for the big picture, who you are as a person, who you are as a student, and whether or not you'll be a good fit for their campus. So the things they look at in order to determine whether or not you'd be a good fit, and kind of to do this comprehensive review, they look at your academics, they look at how challenging your classes were, and the phrase they use is local context. So they basically want to know that you took the most challenging classes that were available at your high school. They also want to know that you meet the basic college admission requirements, of course, and we talked about that in a previous presentation. They're going to look at your GPA. So they will essentially look at your transcript and get a feel for how strong you are as a student. They're also going to look at your test scores, the ACT or SAT. And so it's important that you do as well as you can, put your best foot forward. These tests, it's not the most important thing, it's just one piece of information. So don't stress, but at the same time, do your best. The other piece that some schools will look at is a personal statement. This is an essay that you will write. Sometimes they'll give you a prompt and ask you to write specifically to that prompt. Sometimes they'll give you a little bit more freedom and ask you, to write about a topic that you choose. But basically, the personal statement is an opportunity for you to one, show that you can write, and two, talk a little bit more about you as a person. I wouldn't suggest going over your grades and your GPA, things they can see on your transcript, but give them some information that they don't already have. Talk about, what your passions are, what kinds of challenges you've overcome, the things you care about. There are some great examples online. There are some books that you can find. For example, there's a title, 100 Successful Essays from Harvard University, or something similar. But my point is, there's lots of places to look for successful examples of this personal statement. The other thing they will ask you about is your activities or your resume. So it's important to consider the leadership activities you've been involved in school, the extracurricular activities like athletics and clubs, and the community service. If you've been, let's say you're a member of a church or a youth group, that helps colleges to get a more complete picture of who you are as a person and the kinds of things you're involved in every day. And then the last piece, some schools will ask for letters of recommendation, and they may or may not give you specifics on who they want those letters from. Typically, they want a letter from a core academic teacher like math or science, but also if you have a specific subject you're passionate about, I would suggest getting a letter of recommendation from a teacher in that subject area. And then a lot of schools will also ask for a counselor letter of recommendation. So I think the important part about getting letters of recommendation is asking early so that people have time to write a good letter, and then also providing extra information. If you ask someone for a letter of recommendation, give them your resume, give them some extra information about you that they can use to write a great letter. So I talked a little bit about the personal statement on the last slide, and just want to reiterate a few things. The personal statement is a great chance to highlight elements of your life that are not on your transcript. So don't spend a bunch of time on your GPA and your grades. They can already see that. But some general themes are an experience that has shaped your character, an experience that's increased your cultural awareness, a challenge that you've overcome, or an experience that has helped you develop a passion that you have. Those are all great examples. of general themes you might use. One example is, if you're a first-generation college student, and I know a lot of you might not know what that phrase means, but first-generation college student just means you're the first person in your family to go to college. What does that mean to you? Why is it important? So that's just one example of a theme you might use.